So I just completed my Saturn return. You're about to go through it, baby.
Yeah, I know.
Good luck. Godspeed. Worked out
Yeah.
really well for me. You know what? Sorry to press record because we have to bleep this, Kay. But the exact month that was last year for me that my Saturn return like happened. And you know what month that was? My me redefining everything, doing like that was that month for me. Us going out with Teffy and like living up our best LA life after I went through this whole big thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have a question
Yeah.
that I feel like I'm exposing myself, but you know what? I'm really leaning into this whole idea of I don't know everything.
Oh, yeah. That's my favorite idea.
Right. Meadow knows a
Yeah.
lot more than I do in
No,
so
no,
many
no,
things.
no.
Can
I
you
know nothing. That's
can
my
you
favorite
explain what
idea.
your Saturn return is? Like I've always heard the
No.
term. You don't want to?
I know I can, but I'm not that good at it. I'm not Michaela, but here's the thing. Saturn, I did because I did some research last night. This is the easiest way to think about it. Saturn is known as the strict teacher. So it's like
Okay.
that teacher that's going to come in and be like, you need to learn the fucking lesson you're meant to learn. And it'll
Mhm.
be hard. And I'm going to throw you challenges to get over it and get through it. But you're going to be like, wow, that was so worth it. I'm so embodied in who I am now.
Right.
So Saturn is the thing that comes in to kind of like throw you some challenges and shake up life a little bit. So you come out on the other side with this like newfound embodied wisdom and more yourself and in your own flow and authentic and whatever. That's my understanding.
Great summary. That is
Thank you.
my understanding as well, but you verbalized it much more concisely than I would have.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for
It's
explaining it to
because
the
I did all
people.
the research last night. So any early 90s babies, 91 and 94, we have now completed our Saturn return because today is the day of the full moon in Virgo, but the Saturn changes signs or planets every 3-ish years. And
Mhm.
so Saturn is now out of Aquarius and into Pisces.
Mhm. Do people have
So
multiple Saturn returns?
yeah. So you have one when you're 30 and then you have one when you're 60. And then if you live long enough, you have one when you're 90. It's like takes 30 years.
So if you've already turned 30,
So
you've completed already.
yeah, yeah. So to my understanding, this Saturn moving into a new planet is like it's good for everyone and everyone will feel it, but particularly for 91 and 94 babies, it's like
Mhm.
we are now embodied in our wiser selves and it's time to like take on a more teacher role and kind of like
Wow, that
live
checks
that
out
out.
for the
And you're
people in
about to
my
go through
life
it.
that I know that have yeah, can't wait.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's gonna be so
man.
good though. I mean, everything we were talking about last episode before last, of like getting into this new work and being like, "Oh, I have so much work to do." Which
Mhm.
someone left us a really cute comment on Patreon. I don't know if you saw. They
Oh, I
were like,
haven't seen it yet, I gotta check.
because when you say, "Oh, I have so much work to do," someone said you saying that is how they feel after listening to every episode. I know. I could make me cry. I can't even talk
Oh,
about it.
that's real sweet.
I know. I know.
That's real sweet.
Anyway, happy
'Cause
full moon.
wow.
Have you been feeling it?
Happy full moon. I have been feeling it. I haven't I'm trying to think about the things that I've been feeling because listen, we can blame everything on the moon.
That's true.
We know this. I've also
Watch
had my
us.
period this week.
Oh yeah, you and Maddie, full moon girlies. Yeah.
I'm back to the full moon sketch. So is my sister. We were on the phone the other day. By which side note,
Adds up.
so funny. I had to call my sister about a question that Zoe and I had that it was very much of my sister needs to be the one to answer this question. And so
Oh
we
my
got
gosh.
on FaceTime with her. I was like, "Hey, like I need to ask you something, but like it's gotta like it was like a private question." So I was like, "It's gotta
Yeah,
like
yeah.
stay here." And like my mom had just left from visiting. My sister just moved to New York and my mom was moving her in.
Oh.
So I was like, "Mom's gone, like, keep it here."
Yeah,
And
yeah,
as I'm
yeah.
talking, I see my sister's eyes getting bigger and I see her getting more, like, serious, and for those who don't know my sister personally, she's 3 years older than me, and she basically could be the president, and
Absolutely.
she's so smart.
Absolutely.
I don't know how much I'm allowed to say online, but whatever. The point is she's a genius and very, very good problem solver.
Yeah.
So I
Oh, yeah.
just see her, like, kind of, like, minimizing into this, like, problem-solving mode and getting very serious and very deep, and then, like, I could see my brain start to move, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm not pregnant." And then I see her, like I see her, like, sit
You're
back,
like,
and she was like, "Okay, cool."
"Ooh, okay, okay, okay. As long as that's not what we're doing right now, I'm
'Cause, like,
ready."
Zoe and I are both in the camera like, "So, we need to tell you something."
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, it was really
Oh,
funny.
Issa.
I don't know why that came up.
You gave her the poorest scare of her life because 'cause you're thinking about emotions that came up for you?
Oh, maybe. Anyway, that story was pointless, but it was funny.
No, it
As
adds
is
up for
everything.
me. Yeah.
What have you been feeling throughout the full moon?
I haven't necessarily felt affected by it yet, but I'm excited to use the themes that it's supporting to kind of re-energize my life. Like all the themes are basically like consider it an energetic step forward. Really release any habits you don't want to take on with you, maybe reevaluate your resolutions if they haven't worked for you, kind of step into this new Virgo of like organizing your life, but not in an OCD Google Calendar kind of way, but in a very what works best for me? How can I structure my life so that I am the most productive and rested and efficient? And like, what sort of structures can I create in my own framework, not looking at anyone else that makes me feel supported and like I have my
Okay,
stuff
wait, I
together?
have been doing that a
Right?
lot. I've been doing that a
Right?
lot lately,
It feels
even
like the
with the
theme.
information I'm consuming.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Oh my God. Okay. So
mhm.
should we talk about The Last of Us? Because we both started it this weekend.
Wait, before we do that, because
Okay.
Meadow and I forget to promo ourselves. You
Oh,
mentioned it briefly, but every full moon, Meadow posts and every new moon, Meadow
yeah.
posts prompts on our Patreon page that people love, and you give the most generous prompts. You not only give amazing prompts, but you also give context, you do all your
Oh,
research, you
I
pull from
dive in.
you dive in.
Yeah.
You dive in,
Yeah.
and then you send it to our friends too. We did that last night with our friend
Yeah. It
Sarah.
was cute.
We love it. So tonight's a full moon. Meta posted the prompts. So if that's something you're interested in, go to Patreon.
I always pick like 3 or 4 to share on Instagram, but I'm giving at least 10 on Patreon with aligned actions and themes and
Mhm. But
other
what's another
information and
place people
whatever.
could get great prompts if they don't wanna sign up for our Patreon, which I
Oh,
understand, which we get, by the way. I know we always promo
yeah,
Patreon,
yeah,
but we get it's a monthly expense. So if that's not something that
totally.
you wanna do yet, take it
Shout
away.
out Co-Create Baby. If you haven't
Mhm.
heard, we made a digital manifestation journal. Whether or not you're in a manifestation, it is a ton of mental health journaling prompts on values, identity, inner child, shadow, expanders, patterns, the whole kit and caboodle. And I mean, this full moon especially is a great time
Yeah.
for shadow work, but a lot of them are, right? It's all about like bringing to light. I heard a really beautiful kind of like clarification last night that was thinking about because the moon is full, you can picture like the tides rising, and water is also like our intuition and kind of like
Mhm,
psychic
mhm,
spiritual
mhm.
abilities. So we have as heightened and tapped in energy to kind of look critically at what's going on, bring our shadow side along with us. Remember at AIM when they were like, "Picture your little
Yeah,
shadow right here with you and just bring them with you wherever you go." Like,
yeah.
there's nothing really to do besides honor them and bring them with you. Anyway, so if you wanna get into shadow work and you don't know where to start, we have a beautiful shadow section in Co-Create. So go get Co-Create.
Did we shout out Barry Michaels and,
Kristen Sargent,
yeah, and
I
Kristen
don't
Sargent?
know if we have on here or not, but my book is right over there.
Yeah,
It's too far
I
for me
was
to
just
get,
thinking about
but
my book. But Meadow and I
we need
hosted
to.
a mental health panel alongside AIM. We talked about it in last week's episode. That was like 2 weeks ago. And 2 of the speakers on Meadow's panel were absolutely
Mhm.
phenomenal. And I mean, we're not the only people that think that. They're so wildly successful for a reason.
Yeah.
And their what is the word I'm looking for? Not ethos, but their way
Like
of
protocol?
presenting, yeah,
Yeah.
their
Oh, yeah, I
protocol,
get it.
their
Yeah.
way of presenting the tools,
Mhm.
pun intended,
Cute.
it aligns a lot with the way that my brain works, and I feel like it
Yeah.
aligns a lot with how a lot of people's brains work because it's very digestible and it's very, like, come as you are, take
Mhm.
what you feel resonates.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Um,
Good way to say that.
and so, yeah, we're Meadow and I are about to embark on one of the speakers, Barry's book alongside Phil Stutz called The
Mhm.
Tools,
Jonah
which I'm really
Hill's
excited about.
psychologist and documentary that's based on them.
I'm really excited about it.
Also, you know what? We'll link both of our panels were fully recorded and up on YouTube, so I
Oh,
can link both
Jesus.
panels if anyone wants to watch them. You did a
Mhm.
great job, don't do that.
I know, yeah.
You did a fantastic job. You are your own harshest critic.
So did
Everyone
you.
loved it.
So did you. You killed it.
And of course, we both are gonna have goals and things that we wanna improve.
It was my first panel moderating.
You did such a beautiful job,
Thank you. I was nervous.
and we're only gonna get better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, wait, Last of Us, because boy, did I spend the whole weekend crying.
Yeah. I am gonna make a lot of people angry.
You don't like it?
No, I like it, but I like it, and it's another zombie movie, and, like, it's good or whatever, but I'm not gonna
You
keep watching it.
you're not gonna finish it?
Mm-mm. I'm good. Aaron's finishing it and telling me what's happening in real time.
What episode did you stop on? Did you watch 3?
3. No, I watched 3 and everyone hyped it up so much to me. I was like, I mean, yeah, I guess the story is beautiful, but I've also seen TV do good story. I was so
Well, I think you saw.
overhyped for this show
Mhm.
by Michaela, you, Sarah Shakui, everyone in my life that like not to blame you by any means, but
Oh,
so
it's
many
okay.
people had such good things to say. And I was like, yeah, it's good, but like I'm so not against a zombie show. I'm also like so that bitch. This is so much about my personality. It's gonna like make people laugh. I'm so that bitch that I'm so mad that they're demonizing mushrooms. And I think mushrooms could absolutely revolutionize the mental health of the world. Like you should have picked a different thing to have the world fall apart because
Well,
like
you know
now
that
I'm
it's
angry about the representation that they're doing.
pause
Okay.
before you keep going. I felt the exact same way about mushrooms. It's based on a video game.
Yeah, I learned that. Yeah.
Okay, so, like, I don't think that they you know but
No,
yes, I
of course.
agree. I
And then also
agree, but then
the min
also, is that not a commentary too on, like, what the
yeah,
world
but it's a
might be
commentary
hide
that like I don't align with. I don't know. I think it's good. I think the
fair,
actors are brilliant. I think the storyline is great. It's not the show that I'm interested in watching.
fair, and listen, you had a lot of people hype it up to you. I had heard
Yeah.
about it, but not in the way that you had, so
No,
my
for
expectations
Michaela's
were
been
very
yelling at me
low.
for weeks.
Okay, no,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
expectations were really low. What
Yeah.
I like about it, because I am not like a horror zombie
Yeah.
person,
Yeah.
I like
Same.
that it's not as the show keeps going because it gets more like
It's very good
once you it's
storytelling and
very good
relationship
storytelling.
dynamics and
It's more about that than it
right.
is about
Right.
the freaking zombies. Like, it's
Which
about the
like I
human
watched Game of
experience.
Thrones. Like I
See,
get
like,
it,
I
like, you
couldn't even
know.
get through Game of Thrones.
Right. Right.
So that's I think it's the storytelling is presented in a really beautiful way. I think there's not a lot of sugarcoating, if any. Like, I think it's episode 5 that's just fucking brutal, like, brutal in the sense of, like, no one is safe,
Yeah.
and I think it's a great representation of obviously not the human experience to that degree because we have not gone through that exactly,
Yeah.
but there was especially the episode that I just watched, I think it was episode 7.
I don't wanna say
There's a
anything because
lot
I
of
don't wanna give
growth
spoilers, but I
with the
know what
girl.
happens because he's been telling me everything.
Oh, okay, there's but yeah, yeah.
Why are you doing that? I'm not saying anything. He's getting mad at me that I'm gonna say spoilers.
No,
I'm
don't
not
say
saying a
spoilers. We're not
word.
gonna say spoilers, whatever. I
Yeah.
accept the fact that you don't like the show. I agree with you that I wish they
I
would have
don't not
picked
like it.
a
It's not the show I wanna
different.
watch.
Yes,
Yeah.
I wish that they would have picked a different medium that would have poisoned all these people because I agree with you. I
And then
agree
also
with
I
you.
can't get did you ever watch The Midnight Gospel, my favorite show of all time?
Mm-mm.
Okay, first of all, you have to. Second of all, it's my favorite show of all time, but Midnight Gospel is a show where it's a podcast and then they animate based on the conversation, but it's something entirely different than the conversation, but ends up reflecting it. So it'll be a conversation about mental health and the animation that you're watching is a zombie apocalypse. To spoil one episode, it's a zombie apocalypse, and the whole time they're running from the zombies and trying to get away or whatever. And at the very end, they become a zombie and they realize that being a zombie looks scary to the people living, but when you're a zombie, it's actual enlightenment and they're like vibing and peaceful and happy and the best they've ever read. So my whole time I'm watching this, I'm like, oh, humans are just making up problems and they could be in enlightenment right now and no one has any idea. You know what I mean? I just like, I'm way
Yeah,
too
but, like,
woo
I
woo for
don't
this
think
show,
that's yeah, but I don't think that that's the point. I think you're transferring something way too deep into that because I don't think
but I
that the
can't help it. That's who I am. So then
No,
I can't enjoy the
I know,
show.
but I'm just
Like,
saying, like, these zombies in particular, like, they're
how do we know?
yeah, we
We
don't.
don't know. We're not zombies. We don't know their perspective. This is what I'm saying. I'm not cut out for these shows, you guys. I'm in such a weird place. I am not cut out for this life. I'm so like, I don't, I annoy myself. I annoy myself that I can't get through it because I know it's good television, but
No, but that's fair.
it's just
Listen,
not for me
we don't all have to
at
like
this
the
point in
same
time.
thing.
But I love Pedro Pascal. Do you know he knows his big three? He's like an Aries something
I
something.
didn't know that about him, but I
Oh,
love
he's the
him as an
best
actor.
personality of all time. Not only because he knows his astrology, but I think he's like a beautiful human being.
Did you watch Narcos? No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
Not every season, but a few of
okay,
them.
okay.
You know, I don't know if I can say this
So
publicly.
then don't say it.
Okay, can I tell you real quick and we'll bleep it?
We'll pause it because poor Kay.
Okay.
Okay, that was a good
His
fun
name is
fact
gonna
that you
come to me in the middle of
yeah.
this episode.
Okay, well, you can't say
Good
it
that I
because
bleep that though,
we're not
right?
publishing that. The poor people that just have to listen to you and I pause because we decided to have a phone
I
call in
know,
the
I'm
middle of
so
our
sorry.
recording. Okay.
I did love gay Nick Offerman. It was beautiful. I don't want people to think that I didn't.
Okay, Meadow. But she's like, "But I have to
I
defend
knew
it."
I knew people were gonna be mad at me.
It was a
Don't be
beautiful
mad
story.
at
It was a
me.
very
It's
fucking
a
beautiful
beautiful
story.
story.
I think the representation in this show is chef's fucking kiss,
Totally,
and
totally. Great character studies, great
great character
storytelling.
studies, great
Yeah,
storytelling, beautiful writing,
yeah,
great just representation of what it means to be a human.
totally,
Really into it.
totally.
Mahal,
Mahal,
shut the
please.
fuck up. Not that she can hear me. Okay.
Literally.
Oh, by the way, I wanted to mention to you before we get into our Q&A, because that's, by the way, what we're doing today. We asked you guys on Instagram
Oh,
to
yeah.
ask us Qs. We're gonna be answering those, but I wanted to tell you I started to be magnetic last night. So if you didn't
Money?
listen to last week's episode, go do that. Pause this episode. Go
You
listen to
have
last
to.
week's episode because it was I always say this, Meadow and I every time we have, like, a new guest on, Meadow and I are like, "Oh my god, we've never been this quiet."
Yeah,
I've
we
never
do.
been that quiet because I didn't have anything else to say because I was actually
Downloading.
trying I was downloading the information. I was there was no space for me to be a reactive and
Uh-huh,
responsive listener and, like, active
uh-huh.
listen to what she was saying to me because I was selfishly, like, trying to process my own information during that
Absolutely.
conversation.
Absolutely same. I feel like you can tell by the questions we then ask her.
'Cause what, they're so
They're
personal?
about ourselves. Wait, so did you
Yeah,
find out your money authentic code?
done I started it last night, AKA I'm on
But are
chapter
you on
1.
how to manifest or are you on money? Because 'Cause weren't you
No, I'm
said
on
you were
money.
gonna start with money. Okay, yeah.
I started with money. I kind of went back and forth because she does mention in the podcast, I specifically asked, should we be starting with the first one of like how to manifest? And she said that she recommends it. I don't know if I'm bypassing, but I just decided to start on money.
Do what feels good, yeah.
When I started doing the work, what I got excited about was you have the little intro video and they kind of refresh you on other things
Mhm.
that they've spoken about. And I, again, not to feel bypassy, but I do feel like I
You
have
know so much
done
of that
enough
information.
work in that. And not that I like that it wouldn't be useful to me, but just that I'm okay starting here.
And starting here and then going backwards might
Mhm.
bring up more interesting things for you, who knows?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I started the money one. I am loving it so far, particularly because I can already tell that it's going to do big things for me because it is very Hoffman-esque. And
Oh, is it?
that has been if you guys don't know, I went to the Hoffman
I'm
process,
so
but
happy.
we've
Take
talked
a
about it
shot.
101 times on this podcast. Hoffman process changed my life. I will rave about it until I'm in the
I
grave.
didn't know.
It's very Hoffman-esque, especially well, immediately just about their whole ethos of rewiring
Sure, sure,
neural
sure.
pathways through whether you wanna call it hypnotic sort of meditations or just
EMDR.
visualizations. Right.
EMDR has huge research behind it. That is, like, the least
Yeah, but
woo-woo part
Hoffman
about
was
TBM.
not EMDR,
Right, right, right.
so I
But
don't
they were
wanna
about neural
say that.
reprogramming. Right.
Yes, but
Yeah,
I just wanna make that clear.
sure.
But yeah, Hoffman, every therapy that I've tried since, nothing has hit the way that that hit. Granted, it was an intense week, but I just aligned so much with that type of work, and I've been not struggling to find, but I haven't quite yet found mental health or self-help work that aligns in that similar of a way.
Kind of like yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I am really, really
Oh, I'm so
excited
happy for
to dive
you.
in. I, like, started real I was when she was talking in the thing, and then even just getting the workshops because we did that in Hoffman too, where it would be like, "Okay, here's kind of like a class on, like, what
Mhm,
we're gonna be doing, and then, the exercises, and then, like, the deep meditations and
mhm,
visualizations," and I was
mhm.
like, "Oh, fuck, this is gonna be good."
Oh my
So
god,
I'm really excited about it.
so, so excited for you.
Yeah, so I've just
I've
done the childhood and money, but I
okay.
haven't finished I finished the journal prompts last night, but I was
Uh-huh.
getting so tired that I was like, "I'll fall asleep if I start the meditation," so I'm gonna do
That
it I'm
happens,
gonna
yeah.
refresh it today, and then I'm gonna do it tonight
Yeah,
or
totally,
later
totally.
today.
Sometimes that happens to me too, where, like, if I start too late and I journal, then all of a sudden I'm like, "Fuck, I've been journaling for so long, now I have to do a meditation right after," like, I'm too I totally
Yeah,
get
and
that.
I found myself trying to rush through the journal prompts so that I could do the meditation so I wouldn't fall asleep, and
Right,
I was like, "No, I don't want you know what? This is at my pace."
right.
So,
Absolutely there,
I'm really excited
absolutely.
about it.
Oh, I'm so excited for
Thanks
you.
for
Okay,
showing it to me.
I'm gonna restart money alongside you because 'cause I've done how to manifest inner child and shadow, and I did half of money
Mhm,
and then kind of fell off and fell out of my routine. But as we know, this full moon is a great time and Saturn transit is a great time to kind of step into new routines you need to pick back up into. And I've been slacking
mhm.
on my meditation. And usually I'm so good about it. Or I got back into it and was like doing really well for a while. And then the past like couple weeks have been off my
It's
game. So
fine.
I'm really excited to use this to kind of get my routine back
Yeah. I
on
had to
track.
kind of take a moment yesterday because I feel like how we were saying earlier that I've been really weeding out the things that work for me lately and the tools that I
Mhm,
wanna have around me and blah, blah, blah.
mhm.
And last night in particular, I brought all of my materials onto my couch, and I was sitting there, and I had my journal, and I had my laptop, and then I had the tools book, and I
Oh,
was like, "Okay, I'm gonna start to be magnetic," and then when I realized how much work it was gonna be, I was so excited to dive into the tools, but I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna choose
y
this one first. I'm gonna put it
yep,
aside for, like, the next month or however long
yep,
this program takes me, because I think it's supposed to be, like, 3 weeks if you follow it
right.
consistently."
Are you gonna try to follow a schedule that they recommend?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a typo, but they, like, miss one of the
A day or
lessons
2?
in their
Oh,
schedule. So,
yes,
I'm
I'm
gonna
sure
try
it's a
and
typo.
follow it, loosely in the sense of, like, giving myself an off day
Sure,
to reflect and blah, blah, blah.
sure.
But yeah, as
Cool.
I'm cool with it.
Oh,
I'm
I can't
excited.
wait. Let's do a separate episode. Maybe we do a Patreon only episode unpacking some of our learnings or
I
things that
mean,
are
even
coming up
just
or
the
something.
childhood and money connection, just
No, same, it brought up so
the
much.
I okay, so again, I don't wanna say too much about it because it's a great program and they could say everything much clearer than I could, but if you are in a moment in your life where you're, wanna reevaluate your relationship with money or whatever it may be, even the first journal prompts about childhood and
Incredible.
money, diving deep into your parents or whoever were your caretakers and what their relationship with money was like, how they spoke about money, if money had a bad, what's it called? Bad, like, aura around it. Was
Mhm.
it of a more what is oh my god, I really am the English language is really escaping my brain
Like
today.
perspective
Yeah, what their
on
perspective
money?
was, but also just, like, there was
Connotations
questions of,
or
like, "Oh, were rich people bad? Were rich people
yep,
good?"
yep.
Like, what was the relationship and the narrative with money like in your family? Was it a showy thing? Was it a, "We haven't
Mhm.
just enough" type of thing? So it was really interesting, and then
Were
it
you
has you sort of
rewarded with
reflect.
it? Yeah.
Mhm. Is that how
Uh-huh,
they showed love?
uh-huh.
And then it was a lot of reflection of, are you in a similar situation now?
Even their prompt of what is your first memory ever with understanding money has
Mhm.
monumentally impacted the way that I see myself viewing money now and how to rewrite
Wow.
that. Like, even that alone, I was like, "Oh, shit, I never realized, like, that truly was my first concept and blah, blah, blah." We should do an episode about it.
What's funny is how those different prompts are gonna impact different people because that prompt for me didn't hit as deep as other ones.
Oh my god, that prompt was everything to me, but I also come from, like, a weird story with money too, which is
But
why it's
yeah, I mean, even
interesting.
just there was one about what type of people you grew up around
Yeah,
financially
yeah.
and how that's impacted you now, and there's one surface level answer that I'm like, "Oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah," and then the way that it just dove
Yep, yep,
in my
yep.
writing, I was like, "Ew."
Oh, shit.
So anyway, really interesting. I'm really
Oh, I
excited about it. I
can't
wanna talk to you about it offline.
wait. See, that's why when you were like, "Oh, I'm so overwhelmed, there's so much work to do." I'm like, "Yeah, there is, but you're doing it in a version that's so supportive for the way you like to do work that you're gonna fucking like this." Like, you're
That's
gonna
why I
be
got so excited when I
I was
opened it. I
like
was like, "Oh shit, I get this. I love
yeah,
it." Okay.
exactly, exactly, I can't wait. Okay, let's answer these fucking
Let's
questions.
answer
Are we trying to
questions.
do, like you know how
Let's
people have been
answer
liking our
Yeah, why not? I
speediness?
think these, not that they don't warrant longer responses, because of course,
But we can
but
they're
they're yeah, we can
supportive
move.
to moving quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's start with a softball.
Oh god, okay.
How to stay close with family when in direct conflict with the work you're doing/values. Example, if they're in a doomsday religion or believe the world is bad. I was being
Totally.
sarcastic if nobody understood that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Obviously, me and my Saturn return, the first word that comes to mind is, boundaries.
Mhm.
Huge boundaries. So, like, maybe conversational boundaries, maybe topic boundaries, maybe you start, implementing some boundaries so you can if you still want a relationship with them, implementing boundaries where you feel safe to connect over things that you have common interest on, and then as you grow and develop this kind of, like, stronger vibe and, like, safety in your relationship with still loving each other around these things that you have disagreements on, you slowly start leaning into those conversations from a place of so much more grounded support and understanding that they end up becoming productive, but that can be years down the road, and that's
Mhm.
so okay.
Mhm.
That's
The
my
only
thought.
thing I fully agree with you. The only thing that I wanted to add, and I don't remember what guest brought it up. I don't know if it was last week, whatever. But also having the acceptance of they might and probably will not change, and you needing to be okay with that should you wanna continue a relationship with them, and just having that boundary and continuing to practice that peace and compassion and understanding and forgiveness and calm throughout your
Because
body. Because
and
if you're
that's
choosing to have
so
a relationship with them, I think
right.
about it in the same obviously very different, but I think about it in the same vein that I think about when people cheat in relationships and the
Oh,
person
we
that gets
love
cheated
this.
on
Yeah,
chooses to stay in the relationship, but
we
then
love this
continues to
example.
dangle it over their head. I'm like, no, no,
Uh-huh.
no,
No, no,
you
no.
chose, you made a decision to forgive them. Now you need to forgive them.
Move
Doesn't mean that
on.
you can't work through those problems, but you can't
Right?
dangle it like a carrot of look what you did to hurt me. And I think
Absolutely.
about that in the same vein of when we're choosing to have a relationship with people who have already showed us time and time again who they are. And as we know, Miss Maya Angelou, knower of all, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. Like they've shown you who they are, and you're choosing to be okay with that, and you're choosing to allow that person into your life. So now you need to make peace with that, and you need to set your own boundaries, and you need to do the work on your side to facilitate a healthy relationship with that person to the best of your ability.
'Cause then you're also so much more able to have these conversations about where you disagree from a non-threatening place, in a
Mhm.
place where, like, you're not committed to changing each other's perspective, you're only committed to understanding each other, and so
Mhm.
whether or not you continue to disagree, your ability to speak about it is still gonna bring you closer together rather than divide you. That's where that comes from, frankly, is your
Her.
way to not. Anyway, we answered that beautifully, move on.
I'm like, "Kate, make that a TikTok." Okay.
Uh.
Great question. Great question.
Oh, fantastic question. Can you tell we
And
have personal experience with it?
onward and upward. No, but I do like that you said topic boundaries because they specifically
Yeah.
said doomsday religion.
Mhm, mhm.
Okay. How do you make friends in a new city? I love this question
Please
because I
take
have
it
moved a
away,
lot.
baby. Yeah. Your bread and butter.
I have moved a lot, and boy, has it been interesting. First of all, social media is a tool,
Mhm.
but there are boundaries with it. I
Thank
think that
you.
if you have mutual friends with people, don't be afraid to reach out to your friend and be like, "Hey, I know that you have friends that live in so and so city, and I would love to be connected with them." I literally just put my sister in a group text with my old coworker from AJ because
Oh,
I think they'll
fun.
be fucking besties. And if anything, at bare minimum, just shit on me together and they'll have a blast. So, like,
Perfect.
it'll be great. So don't be afraid to reach out to your friends and have them connect you with people, even if you're like, oh, what am I going to have in common with this person? If your friend knows you and loves you and is like, oh, you could vibe, totally let that happen.
Right.
I've met so many friends that way. And I think there's a weird misconception too with like using people to find friends and network, but I don't think that's what it is. If you're not like,
Well, it depends on where you're
it
stemming from, you know what I
right,
mean?
depends
Because
from where your
we've
motivation is
seen
stemming from. Well, yes, but I
examples that are
think
rough.
I don't even wanna go down the social climate,
No, because
like
that's not what's happening here. This is
because
a
it's not what's
friendship
happening
question.
here, and also, like, I live in Los Angeles. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a very
Different
niche
bubble. Yeah.
bubble. But yeah, so don't be afraid to do that. I would definitely recommend that. Liv Perez in her episode mentioned a ton of great things. She mentioned taking classes or courses that you're really
Yeah.
interested in, whether it's pottery or acting. She's taking an improv class. Meeting people through shared interests, I think is awesome. I also would encourage you, maybe if you work from home, to start going to a specific coffee shop,
Yep.
or if you want to join like a members club that can facilitate the same sort of like-minded people around you that are like all creatives or, whatever, that's also a really cool place to meet people because then you see regulars, you see familiar faces.
Mhm. Mhm.
And listen, you will be surprised. I know that I've been nervous to go into a place like that and be friendly out of fear of being shut down, of people being rude, but it's always surprised me how welcoming people are when they just see a friendly face of someone who, like, wants to say hi and be nice.
Oh my gosh, this is kind of a tangent and not. I mean, it's kind of relevant. There's a, like a little shopping center by where I used to live in San Diego, which is not close to where I live right now, that Aaron and I go to sometimes, and we went the other day, and it's now to the 2nd or 3rd time that we've been there that we've just gotten stuff for free just because we, like, said 2 words to the barista or whatever, and we're nice to them,
Yeah.
and I was like, "This is kind of representative of the community that comes around," because
Yes.
people are so surprised when you're nice. Like, we
Mhm.
were just like, "Oh, great shoes. Oh my god, love this song too." Like, little things, and we got ice cream for free. I got my matcha for free. Like,
Mhm.
people are waiting to have coffee shop friends and meet cute
Yeah.
conversations and connect with you. It's so true. And guess what? Worst case scenario, you're in the same position you were before, and it's more of a reflection on them if they shut you down anyway. So, like, who cares? You don't wanna be their friend anyway. Consider it a good filter. Move on.
Oh, also, I know that this question isn't about loneliness, but I think that sometimes when you move to a new city,
Yeah.
that can be a big thing. And I would just encourage you to get out of your house and just do things on your own. Go to a park, take a walk,
Oh my God, if you have
go
the
buy yourself
accessibility, get a
flowers.
fucking dog. Do you know how many friends you make when you have a dog? Mahal is the biggest icebreaker of all time. I
Yes, she
can't get
is.
people to leave me alone now that I have a dog. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if you
Yeah.
have the means for it and are, maybe are feeling lonely or want to get involved in community in that way too,
And like
it
animals,
opens
because
you
like
up
don't
to a
get a pet.
whole don't get pets if you don't like animals, but it does open you up to a whole new world of people also looking to like make friends or go on like walks and coffee shop dates with your pups or whatever. Who cares?
For sure. Also, there's also so many different groups that you can join. I know my stepsister has talked to me about this of like book she lives in New York, of like book clubs or like women's clubs
Totally.
or walking clubs or whatever. Bumble friend
Yep.
whatever. Like
Yep.
there's so many.
Getting
Technology's wild.
involved,
Mhm.
like being unhappy with where I'm at and choosing to get involved and lean in rather than pull away is the only reason why I didn't leave UCSB sooner. Like that monumentally saved my mental health when I was in college. And I know it's a lot college is such a supportive environment in
Yeah.
order to find those things, and being an adult in the real world isn't. So that's why we're saying carving out that space via a coffee shop, co-working space, connecting over pets, whatever it is, social media, like utilizing these tools for that reason. We're all fucking still trying to do it. So people are gonna respond. Keep
Yeah.
going.
Okay. That's it.
That's it.
Okay. This isn't really a question, but I guess more of a comment, and I feel like maybe you could speak to this better. They said, "Quitting weed, never thought I'd have a substance abuse problem, but trying to change."
Mm. Oh my God, I hate myself that the first thought is like such a supportive time in the stars in order to do that.
No,
I
it's
literally
why
like
people come to the
annoyed
pod.
myself.
It's why people come to the pod, Meadow, it's fine.
It's true. But
We got so many astrology questions, by the way, so don't
did we
even
really?
worry.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's so funny. Um, it is. Two, I totally understand that. I love smoking weed and being a stoner was a part of my identity and I didn't care because I still felt productive and creative and interesting. And as we know, since November, I've significantly cut down my usage. I still have smoked a few times here and there. And I am so surprised by how much clarity and how much better I feel from it. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? So I didn't think I know the addiction runs in my family. I didn't feel addicted to it by any means, and I don't now, but I did. I'm so much more able to see the way in which I used it as a distraction or dissociation from things that I wasn't trying to get through, and how much more insight and wisdom and self-love and compassion and understanding for myself that I'm able to foster by just feeling through those feelings rather than separating myself from them.
Do you think that with weed in particular, because there's such a cultural shift towards it of weed should be legal everywhere, period.
Decriminalize people should be.
Decriminalize, yeah,
Mhm.
all that sort of thing, but because of its actual effects and how, it could be plant medicine in some ways and things like that, do you think that there's people downplay
Absolutely.
their usage
Yes.
or when they're yes, I agree.
Absolutely. I think even when we talk about plant medicine, like mushrooms and ayahuasca and all these
Mhm.
beautiful things that could be such good tools, sometimes I watch people do it and I'm like, "Okay, so how many times are you gonna do this and make this a part of your identity to the point where you're haven't we talked about this when it comes to tarot? Like, you look too much for the answers in the cards or the answers in the
Mhm.
Ram Dass is really cool about wanting to try and be involved in everything and open himself up to every experience, but after you do things a couple times, realize there's a certain point where it's about balance and trying different things and not always
Mhm.
flowing your reliability to one source. And I think it's very easy to make that fall into that trap with weed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But congratulations for quitting, especially if it was something that you felt was something that you had to do. I have friends in my life who are going through similar things, and I know that it has, particularly with weed, and it has
Yeah.
changed their lives monumentally, just like Milo said, around getting clarity or, you know, health-wise, whatever it may be.
The dream
So
accessibility.
congrats.
If you're trying to be a
Mhm.
witch and you take a break from weed, you're gonna have some shit come in. But also, if for other people, we still like weed, we don't demonize it. I still smoke it too. I'm just saying there's nuance
No,
and boundaries and flow and times and places and seasons and
but also great job of identifying, especially with something that we can sit here and be like, "Oh, yeah, like weed." It's not like we're talking about a drug that could kill you on the spot if you
right.
OD. Do you know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
congratulations on having the
Wherewithal.
self-awareness
Yeah.
and the wherewithal to know, like, "Hey, I know that maybe culturally or from society's point of view, this isn't a big deal, but I know that
For
it's
me, it
impacting
is.
me in a way that isn't making me feel good and I wanna change. So that's huge.
Huge,
Props to you.
huge.
Keep on
We're
keeping
proud of
on.
you.
Mhm. Somebody asked, "Why am I so sad, especially about the past?"
Oh, well, I don't know. You do, though, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay to be sad about the past. It's okay to
Mhm.
feel through those feelings and hold space for those feelings and not solve them right away, but realize that you need the space to feel them and feel safe being able to express them. I don't know what you went through, but I feel that in my own life sometimes. Sometimes I need help to
Oh,
process
same.
it. Sometimes I need time. Sometimes I don't.
Same, and I found that one of the most great ways that I have moved through it again, we don't know what you've been through, we don't know the tools that you need to implement, whether it's trauma big T or trauma little t,
Totally.
but I do know that a very powerful tool in my life has been refocusing and living in the present
Oh,
because I live a lot in the
everything.
future,
Yeah. Or the
not as much
past.
in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lean more in the future.
I feel like future is such an anxiety thing and past is such a depression thing,
Mhm.
you know? But the be here now, baby, the be here now can really, really help you create space for that perspective. And also, kind of the same way I talk about grief. It's like hold that perspective with all the other things
Mhm.
rather than solely focusing on that.
Mhm.
So,
Especially because you can't change the past, right? So,
right.
what can you do whether it was a mistake that you made, right? We're talking about, like, little things, because we don't know what happened, but if it's a mistake you made or a regret that you have, what are things that you can do to, A, heal, forgive yourself, have compassion for yourself and those around you, and also move forward in a way that, look, we're always gonna make mistakes, but what's a way that I can make new mistakes and not fall back
Right.
into those similar patterns and move forward with intention of almost I don't know if this is a bad perspective to have, but, like, that wasn't a waste. What happened in the past
Mm,
wasn't a waste,
mm,
Like, it can propel you to change or to move you in a different direction. It's a lesson,
mhm, mhm. An
and I am sorry
opportunity
that
for
you're
change and growth. But I'm
sad.
sorry that you're feeling the sadness because we've been there.
Mhm.
And sadness is comforting.
It's cozy to live in that. It's
It
cozy
is.
to close the blinds, stay in bed,
It is. Yeah. It's harder to
cry.
pull yourself out. Pull yourself out with community, baby. Go to a coffee
Mhm.
shop and find a friend because having people like this to have these conversations with makes it a little easier to pull yourself out of it.
Oh, I know I burped in the middle of saying that, but for sure.
Your
For
body was
sure.
like, yes.
Yes.
Uh,
Okay. Okay, these are now more astrology
oh,
type
God.
teams.
Okay.
Okay, hi angels. What are your planet signs? Happy last day of Saturn in Aquarius in tropical astrology, they said.
Cute.
What's
And
tropical astrology?
tropical?
Yeah,
I got to
I don't know
phone a
what that
friend.
is.
I got to phone a
Phone a fr
friend.
Michaela, what's tropical astrology? We're texting her right now. While Meadow's texting her, I'll
Yeah.
let you know my big 3.
Yeah.
Shall I? Taurus sun, I'm an Aries moon, and I'm a Capricorn rising.
And how do you feel like that defines you?
Well, deeply. Okay, wait. So we have a friend, Sarah, and I'm not exposing which Sarah it is because we have 75
No,
Sarahs in our life.
I really do.
But
Yeah.
Sarah moved through her whole life thinking
Oh,
she
she
was a
said
triple
Western
Cancer.
astrology. Sorry to
Oh,
interrupt you immediately. What
that's
does that
okay.
mean? Keep going.
I don't know. Michaela, say more. Maybe she
Say
can send
more
us a
things.
voice note and we can put it into the mic.
What's talked about most commonly? Okay, so like everything
Okay,
we know it to be.
got it. We have a friend, Sarah, who lived her whole life thinking she was a triple Cancer, and apparently she had her birth time wrong. And the way in which you made fun of me for me being like, "When did she find out?"
No,
Like, I was so and I have had this
your reaction
panic
was so genuine. It was amazing.
because I've low key always had this panic because I really identify with my big 3, but, like, my mom has no idea where my birth certificate is, and we've confirmed the birth time, we've confirmed the birth
Uh-huh.
time according to my mother, but I'm, like, really worried.
That's so funny.
So
That's so funny.
that got my wheels turning. What are your big 3?
Libra sun, Libra rising, Sag moon also adds up perfectly.
It adds up so much.
Really
Okay.
explains a lot about both of us. It's the
Yeah.
way placements are measured and commonly agreed upon. Yes. Okay, so it's what we think astrology is.
Mhm. Oh, somebody said thoughts on the Stutz documentary. I was gonna skip this question selfishly because I was embarrassed to admit that I still haven't watched it, but I've been waiting for my boyfriend to watch it with me. And if he is listening to this freaking podcast episode, how many times I've been like, "Hey, we should start
It
this
is true.
doc right now," and he has instead we've watched something else. So I really want to watch it. I'm fully blaming him for this, and I will watch it. I promise. And then we will get back to it.
I had to watch it without Aaron. I've been asking him to watch it for forever, and he won't either. So I get it, but I've seen it, and it's great.
Okay.
Then she said, sorry, now we're going in a tangent, but in addition to the astrology that we're talking about, there's also Vedic astrology, which is Hindu, and she
Mhm.
literally sent me a chart. Look at that shit.
Oh, wow. God, Michaela, you come with the facts
No,
so
she
hot.
knows everything.
If you guys haven't listened to Michaela's episode, there's a part 1 and part 2 on Patreon. It's fucking phenomenal.
My God.
Next question. Oh,
Okay.
somebody asked, what are both of your what's big 4? What's the 4th?
Venus, Mercury? I don't know. What's big for? And also,
I mean, my Venus is in Gemini. I do know that about myself. I don't know what the big
I
4 are.
have,
I
I'm
also okay,
asking
wait.
Michaela.
On my YouTube video, which by the way, Meadow and I have both started posting on YouTube again. We did not
Yeah,
mention
we
this earlier.
have.
We both started posting on YouTube again. It's the season for leaning into things we've always wanted to do and not overthinking them. Because I will say, quick tangent, Meadow's vlogs are they should go to Sundance. Like your editing style is so fucking beautiful. It's an
Thank you, because it's
incredible
like a
you work so
fraction
hard
of
on
what
them.
I see in my head, though. You know what I mean? Like, I have such a clear vision of what I would want it to look like in my head, and I don't know how to edit. So it's like an
Yes, you
eighth
do
of what I
though,
want
to a
them to
certain
be. I
yes.
do to a certain extent. They're an eighth of what I want them to be, but I still feel like I'm working on them. So thank you for
No,
that.
it's gonna be
I
so
take
beautiful,
that.
and I can't wait for you to, like, direct your first project because I feel like that is so in the cards for you.
Oh, thanks.
But anyway, so Meadow just posted her first YouTube video in a really long time. It's fucking gorgeous. Go watch it. I've been
Thank
back on
you.
the YouTube grind for like maybe 3 weeks now. Missed a
It's
week.
incredible.
It's fine. We'll get
Favorite
to this week,
influencer.
maybe. And yeah, we're really excited about it. But oh, I brought that up because in one of my last YouTube videos, somebody asked me about my boyfriend's chart and they were like, what's his big 6? And I only answered his big 3 because I initially had answered the full 6 and then I edited it out because I was like, something about this feels really exposing. And
Yeah.
I don't know people on the internet. I don't want them to like
Yeah.
fuck with this chart. I don't know. It just
Yeah,
made
no,
me feel
I
very
get it.
weird. I
I
was like, I
get
don't
it.
need you to
It's
know
a
that
little too
much.
intimate. Say 3 is fine, 6 is too intimate. That's funny because when it comes to 4, Michaela was like, I don't know, big 3 and whatever other planet someone wants to include, probably Mercury. It's not really common. It's either big 3 or big 6. I would say big 6 is your big 3 plus Mercury, Mars, Venus.
Yeah, I know my Mars is in Taurus. I think I have a lot of Taurus in my chart. I know my Venus is a Gemini.
I can look mine up real quick.
My Mars being in Taurus because Mars is planet of aggression checks out 10 out of 10 times.
My Venus is in Libra. I knew that. My Mars and
Yeah.
my Jupiter, my Mars is in Scorpio. What does
Okay.
that say about me?
I don't know, but you're not pleasant when you're angry. I'll tell you that much.
I just I just hit my head on the fucking chair laughing so much. I am not pleasant when I
Meadow is like if you were to take a really fucking cranky toddler
underfed toddler. Yeah.
who has the vocabulary and like genius of a full formed human.
I'm Stewie. Did you ever watch Family Guy? I'm Stewie.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But it's so different from your normal personality.
No, yeah.
It's stark.
Oh yeah. Mm. I'm
Oh
like,
my
what
God,
are
you're
a nicer way?
Stewie.
No, I'm a resentful,
Yes.
vindictive, manipulative
Yes.
motherfucker.
You're cranky.
No, if you fuck with me, I'm crazy. But it takes me
Yeah.
a while to get there. To be fair.
I've never seen you get full. I've just seen
Yeah.
you day to day like I'm
No, but
fucking cranky and mad.
you've seen me cranky and mad, but you've also seen me vent about people that make me get full. Because you never make me get full, but
Mhm.
you see me vent about situations that push me to my fucking limits.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah. Becky would have some
Hmm.
shit to say about this.
I actually was do you know you know when you, like, play out scenarios in your head of things that you would say to people because it's all I do
Obviously,
every day, all
constantly.
day. I
Yeah, yeah.
was thinking about it in the car yesterday, and I was like, "Wow, I wonder how" because I have not gotten into, like, a fucking like, I'm gonna come for you argument in years. In
Oh, yeah,
years.
yeah.
So
We
I'm
process
like,
that privately. We don't do it as
yeah,
much
so
publicly
I
anymore.
wonder how, or even to the person. So I
That's
want
what I
like the
mean.
way
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
argue is so much less egocentric, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I was thinking about it yesterday about like a particular scenario. And I was like, I wonder how I would respond if like this person disrespected me because normally it would come from a place of like, let me find all of the things that you're really fucking insecure about and tell you why you're so fucking insignificant. And that's where it would
Girls
come
are
from.
nuts.
And I was like, I wouldn't be able to do, I was like, I literally
You
was like,
couldn't be
I
able to
have
do
a
it.
mental health podcast.
Yeah.
All I think about is like how everyone is deserving to be here and all of us
Yep.
are just worthy as is. I could never tell someone that they're not worth anything.
Yep.
And like, I was going through all this in my brain and I was like, so then how do I respectfully tell someone to literally go fuck themselves? Like, how? And I was really digesting it. I was like, wow,
You do it with your
something I
behaviors.
haven't thought about because I haven't been in that scenario in a while. But I was like, how would I react now? Because it felt wrong. It felt wrong to like
I know
want to say
exactly
those
how you
things,
react. You
you
take
know?
none of it with you because it's such a clear reflection and projection of themselves that
Mhm.
you're like, yeah, I don't know what you would say or what the verbiage would be, but I know your energy in your head. This is going to come off. This really shows how my anger is.
Go ahead.
But I feel like your energy in your head would be like, oh, that's cute.
Adorable.
That's cute. Like that's clearly so about you. I'll be over here.
Which I think is a thing I could say that because I have said that to people. I said that in my no, because for real, I think
No,
the
I
last
know.
time that I was like presented with the opportunity to literally like,
TikTok?
no,
Oh,
no, because that's fuck the people who don't even know me and are coming
right.
from.
You
That's not
mean
what I'm
you mean
talking
like a
about.
personal friendship
Yes,
relation? Okay,
like
got it, got it,
if
got
I
it, got
get
it.
DMs or people or whatever, like I'm like, it affects me differently.
Right.
I'm talking about, like, someone who, like, I care about and I feel, like, betrayed by or has, like, fucked me over
Mm,
or, like, whatever,
mm,
and the last time I was really presented with that was my last breakup, and I handled that so fucking differently than I would have 3 years prior.
for sure. Oh, for
Granted,
sure.
I did say some mean things in that breakup, I
Sure.
sure fucking did that I was holding in for a year, but it was definitely the words, "This is so cute because you think it's about me, but it's about you," for
Mm.
sure came out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Like, 10 out of 10 came out of my mouth. Like, 10 out of 10.
Which, like, maybe isn't the most productive way to say it, but
Maybe not, but, like,
was true.
whatever. It was true. Should we
Yeah.
move on?
Yeah, okay, let's move on. We're revealing too much of ourselves.
Okay, this is a
We're
really
all
sweet
neurotic, you
question.
guys. This is why we have this podcast. We're
Yeah,
all
but and you know
neurotic.
what? I feel like half of my purpose on this podcast is exposing the other sides of Meadow because I'm like, it's like a freaking expose into Meadow's life because I'm like,
It should
you
be.
are so it's so fun. You are Mahal. You are Mahal and
I'm
you are
Mahal,
Stewie.
I'm
And it is
Stewie. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so funny to me.
Absolutely.
It's so like
I'm
the
a
other day.
basket case.
Oh my god, I was talking to yeah, I was with Teffy the other day and I was telling her a story and I was telling her a story about someone that like was fucking with you and I and
I wanna know who it is
like
so badly.
fuck me. She didn't even care about me. She was like, "Who the fuck is gonna talk shit about Meadow?" Like she got so
I
angry.
love her.
And she's like, "Who the fuck is gonna talk shit about Meadow? Like, you can't say anything about Meadow. Like, she's the nicest person ever." And I was like,
You're
"Oh
like,
yeah,
"Get to
10 out of
know
10
her, though."
agree." No. It came more from a place of like Meadow can fully defend herself. Like
Yeah,
she's
yeah, yeah,
not
yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Because you are
Oh,
so
that's so
kind and
funny.
that's
I
like
gotta know
so how
what that
you
was about.
present as, but like
Yeah.
you are not like you have bite. And I want people to know
Oh,
that.
absolutely. You guys, the reason we have a mental health podcast is because I was raised by mentally ill people. Like,
Literally.
what is not to understand here? There is a side of me that is the girl that was raised by mental illness. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta know who that was.
I'll tell you after.
Don't forget.
It'll be really easy for you to guess. Okay.
Okay.
Last question. It is so
You're
sweet.
making me
I
laugh so hard.
love.
My nose is running. I'm sorry. I have
Do you
to
want to
get
get
a
a
tissue.
tissue?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
I'm
it's
sorry.
okay. All right, Meadow has a tissue. We're back. I
Thank
love
you.
when you guys ask questions like this next question because I think it's so sweet and endearing.
Oh.
Somebody asked, "What's an experience that you've been wanting to do for so long but don't have the money or time to do? It could be travel, it could be a workshop, et cetera, et cetera." Great question.
Oh my God, so many things.
I
Where do
know.
we begin? I mean,
Mm,
off the top of my head, travel. I want to travel and I
yeah.
haven't traveled a lot. And I was raised by two parents that waited so long to have kids. They had traveled the entire world before having kids. So when they did, there was
Mhm.
nothing less to do but be at home and raise them. So and then I have cousins that every single summer since they were 3 grew up going to a different country. Like, I'm so jealous of the experience that my family has with world travel. Everyone in my family but me. And granted, I
Mm,
have been to many places and I'm very fortunate for it, but I have a list of places I'm trying to get to, experiences and perspectives I'm trying to have.
mhm,
And I'm just waiting to make that money to do it, baby.
mhm.
Travel's a huge one. There's a lot
Yeah,
of things, but travel is a huge one.
travel is definitely a huge one for me too. I will say beyond fortunate to have traveled the amount that I have. I'm really excited to travel. Like, I'm really excited to travel with Zoe. I think that's gonna be a
Yeah.
really fun experience for us. I love food is such a love language for me, and,
Oh
like,
my
sharing
god.
experiences is such a thing for me, so I cannot wait to be able to do that. Like, I remember I studied abroad, and that was a huge part of why I got to travel so much, and my roommate and friend, in we traveled everywhere together throughout that, and we were in Italy, and we were in Florence, and we were in this, like, in the I think they're called the Boboli Gardens, I think is how you say that. If it's not, please don't come for me. One of the most breathtaking places I've ever been in my life, and it was her and I and just, like, all couples, and we were just laughing about it the whole time
Yeah.
because we were like, "Oh my god, you're my partner in all of this,"
Right.
and it's just experiences like that that I cannot wait to share with my actual partner. Um,
Totally.
I will say something that I am craving to do, and again, this is like a long-term if I had all of the funds that I wanted right now, I cannot wait to build a home. And I'm not even saying
Oh,
from the ground up, but I'm saying
totally.
I just decorating it in a way that feels like it's such a reflection of my partner and our lives, and the travels I feel like the travel
The
will lean
joy
into
that's gonna
that,
bring
you know
oh,
what I
we're
mean?
gonna
Because I
collect
wanna
things on our
pull
travels
yeah,
and no, the joy that that's gonna bring you and I is just all we
I
do
just
is
wanna
talk about it.
nest. I
All
just
we
wanna
do
nest.
I hope people know if they saw our DMs, half are, like, hilarious memes, half are inappropriate jokes that are so TMV that will never see the light of day because we just, like,
Literally.
publicly cannot say them. And then I'm saying half, there's whatever. And then the other portion is like, our dream homes and interior design and architecture. The
Yeah.
amount that oh my gosh,
'Cause I have
I can
so
see
much
it for
Taurus in
you.
my
I can
chart, like,
see it
I
for you.
all I wanna do is just be home and just curate a space that feels lived in, like it
Yeah.
reflects our stories. There's a
Yeah.
story to everything there. This is
No, it's gonna be
why my
incredible.
Pinterest board is fucking Oprah's garden in Montecito.
I
Like,
was
all
gonna
I
say,
wanna
I can see your
do
backyard, like, I can see your garden, and
I
I
just
can
wanna
see your backyard
host.
so clearly.
I wanna ho
Dinner
the
parties,
other
outdoor
day,
dinner parties with the
literally
lights and the yeah.
I didn't think that my Capricorn boyfriend's ass would ever say this to me, and he looked at me yesterday and he was like, "I just can't wait to host in our home." And
Oh,
I was like, "I'm so down for our house to be like the
the house
spot."
people go to. That was my house
Yeah,
growing up. My house it's
yeah.
always meet at Meadow's house. That was always the thing.
Same. We
Yeah,
always had a big hosting house too,
I
but
love
we had a
that.
big hosting house in a different way that I would want. We had a very, like, formal hosting house. It was a lot of, like, dinner parties, but it was very,
Yeah.
like and maybe that was my perception, maybe my parents were having fun and I'm just being an asshole, but I want it to be very, like, cozy.
Like, the kids are bringing home 6 friends with them to feed because their parents are still at work.
Yeah, but also before even kids are introduced, like, I know that you and I are not
Mm,
in the same city, but I would love it for, like, on a Friday night, it's like I'm making,
dinner for us to hang
dinner
out and
for all of us, or
relax.
we're ordering takeout, and we're all just, like,
Watching a
chilling, everyone's bringing
show.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
just cozy outside, we're having dessert, we're having tea, we're having good talks, there's games,
totally. What was really fun about that was my aunt's house in the Bay for me when I was in college, but her kids were in high school, so it was cute. So they had all their little high school friends, but then I lived with them for a year, so I'm bringing home, like,
oh,
boyfriends and all
fun.
my college friends, and we're, like, secretly smoking weed with the teenagers and then secretly smoking weed with the parents, and everyone's trying to keep it from each
Oh, I
other, but we're with
love
both
that.
like, it was, like,
That's
lots of
hilarious.
generations, and we would sit around every single Sunday. If you were my friend in the Bay Area, you went to Sunday Lox and Bagels at my cousin's house, and
Oh my
they'd
god.
always watch the same people on the news, and oh my god, it was so
Did
much
you
fun.
see okay, I have 2 questions for you and then we're done. One, did I think I sent it to you. The TikTok of that person that posted our house is the coffee house every Saturday, and they host
No, but I know
coffee
you
for their
it
friends.
was funny because we were texting about journaling in the full moon last night, and you were like, "Okay, love you, go journal, bye." And then I started getting notifications that you were sending me TikToks, and I literally was gonna text you back and be like, "Get off TikTok." but I haven't watched
I've
them
sent
yet.
so many.
So I
I've sent
have
you
to.
so many.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're gonna love it. They set up they put their espresso machine in the middle of their island. They make a
Shh,
little menu.
stop it.
They put out just
It's our
pastries
dream.
everywhere, and
No,
then
it's
it's
our
their friends
literal
just come
dream.
and stand around their island and, like, have coffee on Saturday. Also,
I
it's
can't
my
talk about it.
selfish dream because I don't wanna leave my house.
No, I don't
So,
wanna
like, you
no,
guys just come to me,
absolutely, absolutely. This is my dream.
which I have commentary
I
on, but
wanna
I'll talk about it on Patreon because we need to
okay.
move on.
Okay, yeah, no, we can move.
Wait,
I'm
but
gonna
I had another question for you about
oh,
your travel. If you could have
Japan.
a ticket right now, okay.
Food, fashion, mental health. Their mental health
Yeah.
is fucked. Their food and fashion is incredible, and anywhere I go, I wanna explore those 3 concepts just because of my own personal interest. Aaron and
Mm.
I are so obsessed with Japan and wanna go to Japan so badly, I can't even tell you. But that's so hard because then also part of me is like, well, Philippines. And then
Mhm.
even just like if I had a ticket like Alabama just to be with family, I wanna go to Europe, I wanna go to South America, I wanna go fucking everywhere. I can't decide. Japan,
Well, trust your gut. Trust your gut.
Japan. If it's like me and Aaron and like a fun trip that
Yes.
we're waiting to go to, it's
Yes.
Japan. How about you?
It's not like you get one flight and that's the only thing you can
Right, right,
travel.
right,
It's
of
the first
course.
flight of
Like
this
that
full
you take.
experience.
Yeah,
I would wanna go to Cuba.
of course.
I
Yeah,
really wanna go to
of course.
Cuba.
Yeah.
I really wanna go with my mom.
Yeah, you have to.
My dad already went back once, my mom has not been back.
You have to go with your mom. That
I
would be
really wanna go with my
huge for
mom.
you guys.
Yeah. I
Oh
mean,
my god,
I have family there on both sides
you
still.
would tap into some witchy grandma shit in Cuba and like I oh my god, if when you go to Cuba, I'm gonna need you to bring like your own tarot deck with you and like do a couple things because
Yeah. I think it would just be a really the
so
there's
it would be
such a deep
so significant
I could
for
literally start
you.
crying thinking about it
Yeah,
right now because there's
yeah.
just such a deep part of me. And I remember I said this to my mom and she kind of like dismissed it and was
Mm.
like, "You didn't grow like you." But it's like, do
Oh.
you know when you feel like deep generational stuff like in your fucking bones? And I feel like there is a part of me that doesn't know where she's from.
Oh, I don't know. I feel that exact same way.
And I feel like
Yeah.
connecting to that
I feel the exact same way in a
place.
very different way, I should say, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I feel like connecting to that place and connecting to my ancestors there and even just like the land there
yeah,
and the people there is just gonna make me feel or I would in my imagination, I'm like, I feel like it would make me feel so much more whole.
totally. Brings so much insight to
Yeah.
like generational
Mhm.
feeling and energy and yeah,
Mm.
I feel same, but different in terms of I'm like a fucking white mutt from a bunch of different places, but then even the place on my grandma's birth certificate wasn't the country that she was actually from because in order to like get in through whatever, you know what I mean? Like I
Mhm.
actually don't know what my lineage is. So I think for
Mhm.
me it's less of like a culture that would make sense that makes me feel kind of imbued and more in terms of like I feel so connected to generations of mental illness trauma. I'd
Mhm.
love to like figure out who those people are and connect with those stories in that kind of
Yeah.
way.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
So, like, less
Yes, it
about a
does.
place and more
No, that makes
about
complete sense.
the
I think
stories. Yeah.
we all have our own anecdote to this.
God, I can't wait for you to do that trip. I think if you, your mom, and your sister went, it would be monumental for you guys.
I think it'd be really healing
And
for
I
all
think
of
it should
us.
be a girls' trip.
I agree.
Yeah.
Notice why I didn't say I don't wanna go with my
Yeah.
dad.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I wanna go. I think my mom would also lean into it more because my mom left when she was, like, 5 months. My dad, I think, was, like, 13, 14.
Right.
So, he had a lot more resistance. Like, he didn't go back to his childhood home when he was
For
there,
sure. For sure. For
which
sure.
I get.
Yeah.
But I think there would be less resistance on my mom's end of, like, leaning into doing the whole thing.
Oh my God. I can't wait for you to do that. For
Thank
sure, gonna happen.
Yeah.
For
Yeah, yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hopefully sooner
I
than
grew up
later.
90 miles, I could
It's
you know?
nuts. Nuts. Closer. Is that not closer than you and I? LA to San Diego?
I don't know how many
I think
miles
it
we are from
is.
each other.
I think like 200, 230 or something like that.
Well, then, yeah, it's literally 90
Damn,
miles from Key
damn.
West. So not
Let's go
from
to
Miami
Patreon.
technically, but from Florida. All right, we're moving
Yeah,
this party to Patreon. Thanks for listening to today's episode. Check out our journal co-create.
please do.
Sign up for Patreon. Do all the things. Oh, go watch our new YouTube videos.
Watch our YouTube videos.
Watch
They're
Meadows particularly
fun.
because she worked really
No.
hard on it. So everyone go tell her how great her editing
Yeah,
is.
but Gabby's consistent and my new favorite influencer and back with more content to give.
All right, as she puts on her lip gloss. All right, ciao. We'll see you next time.
How's it going, y'all? It's Aaron. Don't let your Monday suck. Don't have those Sunday scaries. I'm tired of everybody waking up in the week saying, shit, it's Monday. You know what goes down? TMV releases every week on Mondays. Make sure you rate and review wherever you get your podcasts And if you're watching YouTube, yes, TMV has a YouTube, be sure to subscribe and ring that noti bell and never miss a thing. And also, join the TMV Familia by joining the Thoughts May Vary Patreon and by following at Thoughts May Vary Pod on Instagram and TikTok. Thank you for listening.
Great.
There you go.
Thanks, AB.
Got y'all.